cause and to other workshops that Judy might be able to give in the near future, that would also be wonderful. And now I'm going to turn it over to Judy.
So, Marion introduced me. I'm a trauma therapist, and as Marion said, I founded a nonprofit, which the purpose is to help people to be able to manage the stress. Manage stress in everyday life, and then the same tools that people have for managing stress in everyday life when we have panic stresses, like the ones we have now. Then if you have those tools, then it just makes it that much easier to be able to deal with stress. So what I thought we should do is first we'll have a little introduction, so maybe if you all know each other, that's great, but I don't know everybody. And when you introduce yourself, maybe just say one thing that you would like to leave here with today. and then we will be able to, I decided that this workshop today is going to be very flexible. I want to be able to give to you what you would like, and also perhaps help you just be able to get rid of some of the stress that must be somewhere. and all of us. So I think some of it will be fun, because that's the way to get rid of it. It's just to be able to do this. It just sort of lightens up.
Miriam Green, AACI, but also just Miriam. One thing that I think I'd like to leave here today is the ability to feel less on edge. And yeah.
I'm Lea Abraham, and I'm Ada Lea with the Nefesh B'Nefesh. I'm very happy to be here. But all year I've known Nana to worship, thanks to Miriam, and Tamar for my first contacts here. And like Miriam, also like before, so much together, so I'm more calm, Lord, because even any little noise I jump.
That we call in English startle, right? So less on edge, and a little bit more calm. Okay.
I'm Bernard Brest, ex-OAD, been living here in this establishment for the last 5 years or so. Originally with my wife, who no longer here. Happened to be a doctor, and happened to have lived through stress much earlier in my life. Stress of this sort, because well, you may guess from my accent I'm not somebody, but I'm Londoner, and I lived through the Blitz in London. In fact, my bar mitzvah happened to be during a daylight air raid attack. I'd been, funny enough, the all clear siren went just as I was saying the last brachot of the Haftarah.
I have to ask you a question.
Yes.
Do you remember what it was that helped you and your family at that time? In just a sentence or two.
Nothing particularly that I remember.
Well, maybe you will as time goes on, and if you do, I think it would be very enlightening. And I'm sure you will find
British Apple.
well, we'll see. I don't know.
Then sit up with it.
You know, a 13-year-old sees things differently than an adult does. And so the memory that you might have as, you know, what was then, might still today be a resource for you now. And I invite you just to think about it and let us know. Okay, thank you. Okay.
I'm Caroline Gillard. Landsman here. I'd like to be able to fall asleep with you about 3
All right.
That was you're going to be
All right,
give
so
me that.
what I would do is if I did not remember to address that before we finish, please remind me because we will. Okay? All right. We're making introductions of your name and what you would like to receive before you leave here today. So you want to sit down and just meet the group a minute, and then we'll come back to the spot. We got up to.
Well, my name is Ted. Here people call me Mati.
We know you was Mati.
We know you from Anglo.
Beersheba. For good or for bad? Okay. All right. And I'm just delighted, first of all, because I've discovered some activity here, so close to me, in fact, on the same floor. I wasn't aware of it. So that's why I'm here.
Happy to have you.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Good to be here.
I'm Julie Lee. I would like to be able to get from today the ability to be calm and to be able to reassure my family that is not in Beersheba that I'm okay, so they'll stop making me crazy. My youngest child. I spent Shabbos with Judy, so I'm already at the point where I'm closer to be calm and I have some KV, but now I need to be able to
Don't
broadcast.
think that I wear kosher.
Just being with you is calm.
My name is Erin Horowitz. Listening to what everyone says, I don't know which thing to select. But I'm either on the verge of exploding or crawling into the bed in the ball. And I'd like to get calm, and I would like to sleep through the night for more than 2 hours at a time.
I may not be calm, but I think I am. my main interest is, I guess, to get my grandchildren to take things easy. They are uptight.
I'm Emily. I think today I started feeling angry. It's the first day that I felt really angry. And
What day is this? Is this day 10 or 11?
I don't know if it's the same, stages of, denial, mourning. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, today was the first day that I was just like angry on behalf of today was the first day that and it's been 2 weeks that the kids have been home, but today was the first day that I knew it was futile, but I called their camp, and I had nothing to say, but I just called them, to find out if there's their camp, to find out if there's going to be a hechser or if they're going to do something. I just started feeling like I needed to
Have some.
I just sort of felt like I've been so passive, and it's hard for me to be passive, and so I don't know.
So we all, I think, are reacting to a situation which is, as they would say, a not normal situation.
Oh, but it's the Bear Shepherds talking to be normal.
No. This is not a normal situation, and all of your reactions are reactions which are normal, typical for an atypical sort of situation. It's definitely not normal. Our nervous systems were not made to have this kind of a situation. And from what I understand, and the doctor can always correct me at some time here or there, I have to know my P's and Q's now, but I do believe that what we really need to do is to be able to see how we can deal with the situation that something is happening or has happened too much, too fast, too soon, and that it's overwhelming our nervous system. Is that okay? So I see the being on edge, or not being calm, or not being able to fall asleep, or being angry, all as really much of the same. Our nervous system is just going up, 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 because it's just too much. And our normal ways of dealing with these things can deal with them when we're within our own window of tolerance. And when we are outside of our window of tolerance, all of a sudden, it gets more difficult. And we start to have something that spirals and goes into a whirlpool that we're not able as easily to contain or to be able to handle. So, as I sort of had hinted, I work with the body, the nervous system, and I use the body-mind connection, because if we think that trauma or stress affects our nervous system, our body, we can use our body to get rid of that stress or whatever it is that's causing us to be outside of our window of tolerance. So the first thing I'm going to invite you to do is to just, we're going to go on a small little, as we say in Hebrew, a tiul, on a little journey. And I might need you to help me with the English, because even though I'm a Native American, most of my professional work is in Hebrew. So if every once in a while I get stuck, I'll ask you to help me, and then we'll get through this, okay? So we're going to go.
Here who doesn't speak Hebrew?
Oh, it's okay. We can do it in English. It's fine. So what I would like you to do is just to sit back and notice that how it is just to have both feet on the floor. Okay? And notice the support that your feet receive from gravity and from the touch on the floor. You let your toes, one part of your foot, the sides, the outside and the inside, and your heel. Just want to play with the connection of your feet with the ground, within your shoe, with the sandal, and as if perhaps you're on a beach, and just allow yourself just to let your feet really relax in the sand and feel the support being cuddled by the sand. And as you feel that support, notice how it is to have your ankles and the lower part of your leg, the calves, and the knees, just having that support from your palms of from the soles of your feet. And then notice the support that you receive from the seat of the chair. And notice your thighs. Notice the entire area of your sit bones, your lower back. Just pay attention to what you notice happening within your body. There's not a right or a wrong. And as we continue on this little tour, this little journey, we'll notice also the support that our back is receiving the back of the chair. And as you move this, maybe notice your breath or your pulse. Maybe quick pulse or slow pulse. Neither is right or wrong. Your breath may be deep, shallow. Again, there's no right or wrong. Just notice and see what else happens next. And as we continue, you can notice also how it is to feel your skin, the parts of your skin which are exposed to the air, and then the parts of the skin which are covered by your clothes, or the skin that is touching your glasses, or your hat, or a piece of jewelry, or a watch. Just notice. Don't try to change it without being judgmental. Just look and see how it is. And as you do that, you might notice that you're not really comfortable right now. So you're invited to just sort of move in your chair until you become a little bit more comfortable. And then if you closed your eyes, you might just see how it is to start to let the light come in between your eyelids. Slowly and then back to the room. And just see how it is. Those of you that would like to share with us what you might have noticed as I took you on this little tour, which is within you, and we didn't have to leave Mishkan to get there. So just notice what it is. You didn't have a guided imagery. You were just noticing what's happening within us. And again, there's not a right or a wrong. It's just what is. So just what did you notice as you took the time to be aware and mindful? Okay. I see Leah and smile.
I felt heavy. The weight was coming down. I felt heavy.
Light is coming down. And as you were feeling heavier, was that a comfortable heaviness or uncomfortable?
Yes, I almost fell asleep.
So it was like you could just almost fall asleep. So that was nice.
That was good.
That was good. Okay. Yes.
I felt perfectly comfortable. As usual, I didn't notice anything particularly.
Wonderful. Good.
I think I need to do a self-guided tour of those drifting off at 3 o'clock at night.
So you were imagining doing this at 3 o'clock at night?
No. I just noticed that I comment on myself. Because now I was like relaxing, listening to you and doing it and dozing.
Okay.
So maybe I should do it to myself.
Okay, lovely.
To fall asleep in it. To help fall asleep in it.
So you can remember that, that what you do, when you just are being mindful, your brain, and we will get to the understanding of what the brain does, but your brain has that imprint now, that when you're being mindful, you can just sort of get calmer. Anyone else like to share?
I feel like I'm wound really tight, even in my breaths. Didn't manage to
Okay, so now you were able to be aware of the tight feeling that you're experiencing. And I'm going to let you be with that right now because I want to make sure we get to everybody. And what I would suggest is to continue to glance at that area which is wound up. And I understood from your, it's right here, yes? So as you just, and this was your motion, right? It's like this. So you can do that slowly. And every once in a while, during the course of the next hour, just notice what's happening here. And then be really curious to see what else is going to happen next. Okay? When we're just noticing what is, not judging it, and being curious as to how our nervous system is going to help us to take off that edge. Now, I will just share with you that when we start to notice a pain or a contraction that we hadn't noticed previously, that means that our system is starting to calm down. It's as if we play with snow and our hands are so frozen we don't feel the pain while we're playing with the snow. That's my memory. And then when we go inside and we start to warm up, we start to feel that our fingertips are hurting because then they're not numb anymore. So many times when we're in the midst of doing a lot and being in a lot of stress, we don't notice what is hurting us or we don't notice the stress inside of our bodies. And when we start to calm down, all of a sudden, it comes. But just know that you have begun a journey and that this is only the beginning. And be curious with how now your body has gotten the cue that, oh, okay, now I'm going to start to thaw out and get rid of this energy that I don't need, and it possibly will start to really to discharge. Okay? So is there anyone else that noticed something as you were doing this, taking this journey? Yes?
I felt like I was disembodying in my body and doing what I'm trying to do and I don't succeed. Which is basically to disembody and just have the whole body relax and fall asleep. And I also felt all the hairs on my arms stirring like the individual ones from the air conditioning. And then as soon as you said before you're on a tensed up and everything came back.
Okay, so wait a minute. So I understood you saying that you were feeling your body.
I was feeling my body.
Because you felt the hairs on your skin.
Both that and just like I was disembodying. The body was here and I wasn't.
So just notice that you were feeling both. You were feeling this and you were feeling that. And then there was something within your body that started to move. And movement is the opposite of stress and trauma. Trauma and stress has us being stuck, for loss of a better word, and this doesn't let us continue to flow through life. So that stuckness is the opposite of the movement, and whatever movement there is, that's a good sign. So, anyone else?
I felt I was here.
You're here. Is that an okay feeling?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. So, now that we've got that, I'm going to suggest that we do something else, and I'm going to use something that, what we did now was what I would call the felt sense. We allowed ourselves to notice what's happening inside of us, and that will be a tool for whatever else we do during the course of the next whatever hour, and it will also be a tool for us wherever we are, because when you start to pay attention to what you're sensing, you give your cognition a little break. Okay? And many people, yes, because if this is your brain, okay, this is our brain, okay, so this is the brain stem, and this part of the brain is the reptilian brain. It's the part of the brain where our instincts for dealing with a threat, and this is meaning that this is where we have our instincts of fight, flight, or freeze. If there's a threat, we instinctually either run, fight, or just freeze. And for women have another way of dealing with things, and that's tend and befriend. And that is also something which is in the female DNA. And it has been found in research with babies in the nursery, in the hospital, after newborns, that if girl babies hear crying, they start crying. They're much more empathetic. Boy babies, no. And there have been different research that has been done in this. So this is where our instincts are, in this lower part of our brain. This part of the brain is our middle brain, the limbic brain, which, among other things, has our emotions, love, hate, anger, fear, okay? And then the neocortex, which is our hippocampus, that's the part of the brain, which is the outside of the brain. That's where our cognition is. That's where our language skills are. That's where our dreams are. All this part of the brain. Now when there's a threat, we go like this. All of our energy goes to this. Because what we need is our instincts to run, to fight, or to freeze. Either or all of those are good. That's what we're supposed to do at the time of the threat. When the threat is over, all of that energy, which has gone here, needs to go somewhere. Many times, it gets stuck in our system. Because like now, if we have a siren, and then the siren goes off, we have a lot of energy to go to wherever we need to go to. We might not have to go more than a few meters away, and when we get to where we're supposed to stand, and then all the rest of that energy is stuck in our body. So we need to get rid of it. Right? That is what we're going to be doing now, is we're going to be doing things to help get rid of the energy. If you're curious and you don't get angry at yourself, and you're not judgmental, oof, why can't I fall asleep? I should be able to fall asleep. I didn't do anything. I haven't eaten caffeine. I didn't do anything that I shouldn't be doing. I didn't even watch the television. Why aren't I able? You know, when we start having that kind of self-talk, and we're judgmental to ourselves, that means that we're adding anger onto something else, and we're not getting rid of this energy. But if we just are able to just go into ourselves and just use our attention, we use our awareness, we use that part of the brain which is not the cognition, we're just being aware. And that is the part which allows us to leave that internal conversation for a while. It helps us to slow down all of the mechanisms of our brain. And when we slow slow things down, then we're able to start to let that other energy leave our system. And the way we see that leaving the system might be the movement of the hair. It might be a little bit of a vibration of part of in your on your arms or your limbs, feet. It might be a feeling of heat being released from your back, from your chest, from your head. You might feel your stomach starting to gurgle, or have other kinds of all of a sudden a burp, or something like this, and you never do things like that. It's not very polite, but all of a sudden these things start to happen, and we have no control over these things. Our bodies are getting rid of whatever is in our system, and we don't need it. So when these things start to happen, don't be afraid. Many people start to shake, and they think, oh my gosh, I've got to call, Magen David Adom. I have to go to the emergency room. Oh yeah, I better have somebody take me to a doctor. And that's not necessary. If you just are able to know, oh, this is normal. So let's see how long it's going to take for the shaking to finish. If you allow this to happen, you'll see it'll be fine. Within, it might take 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or it might take 2. It'll just go away. So if you have questions till now, please.
I'm remembering a moment when my father was in the hospital and he went down, lost consciousness. And I had a lot of energy to find a doctor and a nurse. And then when I knew he was taken care of, I started shaking. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, that's it. And I was once in an accident that I was coming to a traffic circle, and I saw a taxi on the other side, and I've had bad experience with taxis, so I stopped, let this taxi go through, and the man behind me was talking on his cell phone and did not notice that I was stopping, and he went into me very softly, and he ran to my door and he said to me, "Geveret, auto shalach beseder." And I said, "Oh, חשבתי שלא." And I felt my head previously go, "Good," and I said, "Oh, there it goes a whiplash again." And I said to him, "Just write down all your details, and I'll be right there." And I let my hands continue to hold the steering. And I noticed, as I let my hands just be there for a moment, all of a sudden, all of the energy from the back of my neck started going down the sides of my hands, and I started shaking. And this was maybe 2 or 3 months after I had learned this. And I said, "Oh, this is the reason that I learned this." And I finished with this guy, and I was very near a friend where she was working, and I went in and I told her what had happened. She said, "Well, I'll get you coffee." I said, No. First, give me a hug. I need a hug. I needed someone else to help me just calm down. And so that brings me to another one of the tools, which are very, very, very helpful for us to help ourselves calm down. And that is touch. Now, often we are not necessarily near a friend or someone else that we feel comfortable touching us. So what we can do is give ourselves even just hold our arms like a hug. And you can just notice how that feels right now, just to do this. Notice your breath. You just even go down your arms, keep yourself very securely. Just to hold your arms close and like this. And you might even want to just give your legs also a little bit of a, let your legs and your body and your knees know, I'm here. I'm here and I'm here with myself. Now, how does that feel? Is that comfortable? Not comfortable?
Comfortable, comforting.
And comforting. Wonderful. And then if you want to calm down, you can put one hand on your chest and one hand on your stomach. Just notice how that is. Another sign of the discharge of energy is a tear coming through. A different one might be on some nectar. So there's not a right or wrong. How the energy comes out, as long as it does. That's the main thing. What we've done until now is we learned about felt sense, and then we learned about the use of touch. Another thing which I find is extremely helpful is grounding. Because trauma sort of takes us off our feet. Sort of we can't find ourselves. It's pretty chaotic. You might find yourselves saying, oh, I was going to do this and this and this and this today, and the day went by, and somehow I just couldn't get it all together. So what I strongly suggest is at the beginning of the day is to find your feet on them and just allow them to be on the floor, just like we did at the very beginning of the exercise that we did before. And also you can notice your back, your sit bones, if you're sitting. These are really treasures that we have within us. They're gifts. And if you believe that there is a maker somewhere, that we've received. And if we just notice how we can be grounded, and we give that part of our brain that might have a little more of that survival energy left inside of us, will help it to sort of dissipate. And I'm noticing now that in my lower legs, there was like a little bit of a like electricity or a little heat. That's what you're feeling. Okay, a tingling. You might feel that, a tingling or a heat just sort of leaving. That's great. And in your toes, because what we want it to do is to leave us. So it leaves from the middle of our body, goes out through the feet, it can go out through our arms, or it can go out through our head. Those of us who were trained to use our head a lot, that's what we're used to doing, often find it going out through here too. So don't get scared. You also might feel a little dizziness or nauseousness even, and that's also okay. So what you need to do is to ground in another way. A yawn is also a way of discharge. A yawn, a deep breath, and then if there's another deep breath, and that's good discharge. That's great. Okay? That's what we want to have happen. It's a good thing. Right.
When I hear the alarms and run to the big fun out. When I come up, my little cat runs to me. I think he's scared too. So I hug him. But then it was so much.
Okay, so what is happening is all of this energy that you had to run to the mikvah and then to get back to the house, hold your cat. Once you start to pet your cat, or you feel the softness of holding the cat, then your brain says, now that we can calm down, I'm calm. And so the nauseousness is just this energy starting to move around. I would say you probably are not on it.
just as the nauseousness. It'll take it another minute or two. And what you might want to do is to ground in another way. So there's another way of grounding, which is, I think, is really quite brilliant. It's not mine. And that, well, it's not, and that is to, first of all, you might even want to do this if you have a sheltered room and you've heard there was already a boom, so either it has been, the Iron Dome is taking care of that rocket, or it's fallen somewhere, and you notice, okay, I'm here, I'm okay, and check inside your body. You know, just sort of track it, as if you were, you know, in the army and you were tracking and find the trail of somebody in the desert. So you just sort of look inside very quickly and then say, okay, I'm here. And then look around and find something in the room that maybe is something nice for you. And I sort of look around now, and you can sort of just look from one shoulder to the next, slowly, and then just come back around, find whatever object it is that makes you feel good for that moment. You don't have to have a reason. Just your eye landed on that object. And then just notice again what's happening. And if you're still feeling nauseous or dizzy, so then you can say, okay, now I'm going to find 4 things of whatever color you decide. So you can say, I'm going to find 4 things of color green in this room. So can we just have 1 or 2 people tell us what they found? Yes.
Curtains.
Okay, what else? We found 4?
Yeah. Four different
curtains.
Okay, somebody else find 4 different things?
Beads on this toy up there.
Yes, and?
Bottle on the counter.
Yes.
I'm agree.
Wonderful. Good. Okay. All right, so then we start with the colors. Then the next thing is to find 5 different objects from different textures. Yes? Found it? Okay, so somebody wanted this.
Wood, the screen, the wall, the curtains.
1. Okay. And then try 2 different sounds.
Air conditioning.
I can try and get those.
That's so you can
Because it's while you were doing it.
right. So now notice how it feels. No. How does it feel? Don't try to figure it out. I'll explain it. What are you noticing happening right now? You've woken up, yes. Right, exactly. You're present. You're grounded. This is not this work is not work to have us to be in la la land. We don't want to be somewhere, I mean, we might want to be somewhere else, but when we're in a situation where there's a threat, we need to be present. So we don't want to be spaced out. We want to be present. So here we are, okay? And
this is it. We don't want to distract ourselves. We want to be very focused. We want our brain to put all of its parts together. When you look around, when you pay attention to what's going on, and when you say something, and you start thinking, okay, what is a color? What are textures? What are, then all of a sudden, so many parts of our brain are working all at once, comes together, and we're here again. So it's quite helpful. So that's a wonderful thing. And I have found that even with children, you asked about your children. So with children, it's great. A number of years ago, I was in State Road with my grandchildren. I was babysitting. There must have been 8 children in the house with my husband and myself, without any of their parents, and different children. And there was a Zeva Adam. And so we all went from the living room, dining room area to the bedroom, which was the mamad. It's a safe room. And then there was the rocket fell, and it was very close. And my grandson said to me, he was 8 years old, Safta, Zek, Rove. And I said, I know. Because the tree scene and the windows were all shaking. And I said, uh-oh. And I said, Noam, how are you? And he looked at me like I was out of my mind. And I said, Noam, tell me how you are. And he said, "Ani beseder, yeah, we're going in it." I said, "No, we're not going anywhere. We're all going to see how we are. I want you to go from your head to your toes and just check everything is okay." So we did. And then we did that together with all of the other younger children, either his siblings or his cousins. And then we got to the baby. And he was ready to get out of the room already. He was 8 years old. And he said, "Wait a minute, we didn't check the baby." He said, "Bemet Safta, what are you talking about?" I said, "Yes, we must check the baby." And I put my hand on the baby's back between the shoulder blades, or also a little bit lower. How does that feel? Very comforting. It's comforting. And so I did that, and I had him put his hand on my arm as I was putting my hand on the baby, who was sleeping the entire time. And he was okay, the baby was okay, and then I let everybody be. But I allowed them to sort of get that energy out of their systems before they ran ahead, and which is the norm. Most times people hear, they're ready to run, right? And that's it. But it's not the thing that's going to help them. And if you just wait just a minute or two, or take advantage of when I don't say that in English, the home front command says to us to stay 10 minutes in a safe room or in a safe place. So use this time just to calm down and to check, to use any of the tools that we use so far. Okay? So that's with children. So we've done grounding. I'm reviewing for you. And for me, we've done grounding. We've used the felt sense. We've used self-image. Next thing is movement. Now, I had mentioned to Miriam earlier. Remember what I said? I said she had a movement that she put her hand like this. This was her movement, not mine. And I said, do this through the course of time, but do it slowly. What I did just now is quick. And then notice what's happening in your system. So how is this place here now? Much calmer. Much calmer. Everyone has their
own movement, which makes them feel good, for lack of a better word. It's calming to them. Some of us like to just sort of like this, other people this, others, I know many men that have beards, they'll start like this, whatever, or little women with long hair or children will start to just go like this. Whatever your movement is wonderful. Find which, be curious. What are the movements that I make? And then when you notice how it is, you play with this. If you play with it and you just slow down the movements, it can help your system calm down and then see what happens next. Okay? So that's something else which can be helpful. Another thing which I found to be really nice is breath, breathing. So we don't want to hyperventilate, but we can just sort of breathe in and notice the breath. And I do this with people from all regions. So you can take a scarf.
I was going to take it from you.
Thank you. Oh. Thank you.
What we want to do is just to notice how it is. If you just put this up in front of you, and you breathe in, and you breathe out. Then you might want to just go up. Just even just move the scarf without making that special breath and just without blowing. Notice your breath. Just do this for a little bit of a break. But how is that, just to notice your breath? And one other thing which you might do since you have this is to put it in between your hands. And so no one sees the scar. Something lovely for all ages. And it's just very slowly, as you're opening your hands, you might just notice your breath as you're opening your hands. I just want to know